Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Zoom recording with Creamos. I have two guests with me today. I have Hannah Sklar, who is the Executive Director. Hi, Hannah. And I have Lucy Morrell, who is the Director of Development and Communications. Hi, Lucy. And both of them are joining me from Guatemala City, where they say they have an absolutely gorgeous day outside. So let's get started. And I believe both of you have a presentation on Creamos for us.
First, we want to thank Together Women Rise so much for this incredible opportunity. We're humbled and excited to be part of such a wonderful community that does so much work on behalf of women and girls all over the world.
So before we focus on the specific community in which Creamos works, I want to share a little bit of information about the challenges facing women in the country of Guatemala as a whole. And throughout the presentation, I'll be referencing IPV, which stands for intimate partner violence. I'll be referencing GBV, which stands for gender-based violence. And we'll also be referencing the term femicide, which refers to the killing of women based on their gender. So keeping that in mind, Guatemala suffers from one of the highest rates of intimate partner violence and femicide in the world. This issue is so pervasive that in 2008, the Guatemalan Congress passed a law against femicide and other forms of violence against women in order to address this problem, but there have only been moderately decreased rates in the years since, which and impunity rates in femicide cases persist at 98%, which really indicates a lack of governmental attention towards this issue. And within the garbage dump community specifically, which is where Creamos operates, the ongoing pervasiveness of intimate partner violence and gender-based violence is certainly molded by contextual factors, which include hegemonic masculinity, extreme poverty, extremely low literacy rates, and the historical influence of the widespread implementation of sexual violence as a weapon of war during the country's 36-year genocide, which actually only ended less than 3 decades ago.
So we want to talk a little bit about the community in which we work. So the Guatemala City garbage dump is a 60-acre land ravine. It's located in the heart of Guatemala City and actually receives 1/3 of the country's trash. In this community, there's roughly 15,000 people who are making a living by sorting through garbage for items that they can recycle, repair, or resell. Most commonly, this includes plastic, cardboard, cans, glass, scrap metal. And when people recycle this, they typically do one of 3 things. They collect these items in bulk, they wash and sort them, or they sell to a middleman. So as this community operates on a market-based economy, a lot of times recyclers will store these materials in their houses, and they will wait for prices to fluctuate and to rise so they can get more money from them. This is really physically demanding work, which carries a tremendous amount of environmental hazards, such as landslides, such as methane fires, and it also comes with health risks, such as within the community that we serve, we see a lot of respiratory illness and skin diseases. However, these workers also provide an important service to the city as they remove hundreds of thousands of tons of trash from the landfill each year.
So just as a general overview, at Creamos, our mission is to create opportunities for women and their families living in this community through an inclusive approach to lifelong financial, emotional, and physical stability. And I think when we think about what we want the community to look like in the future, we really envision a world in which no woman is required to engage in these forms of risky work in order to support her family.
So in order to carry out our mission, Creamos focuses on 3 main areas. Our income generating was Creamos's founding program, and this program exists to provide an alternative form of employment for women working in the garbage dump or other high-risk forms of work, including transactional sex, drug dealing, stealing, or relying on an abusive partner. The second pillar is our adult education program. This program provides an opportunity for adults and adolescents to re-engage with their studies after they were forced to drop out due to the social and economic pressures which come with living in the community. Today, we're specifically going to focus on the emotional support pillar of the organization. This program was founded in 2015. Since then, we've been offering one-on-one and group support, focusing on grief, focusing on sexuality and healthy relationships. This team is made up of social workers and psychologists, and every year we conduct annual evaluations. So we see what are the biggest challenges that that the Creamos population is facing. Throughout the past few years, we've seen an increasingly identified amount of IPV and GBV in the community. And so in 2020, we wanted to get a better sense of how pertinent this challenge was. And unfortunately, we found that only 0.8% of women that we work with report or have a sense of healthy relationship within their intimate partners.
So in light of such significant instances of physical, sexual, emotional, and economic violence within this community, Creamos is working together with Together Women Rise to launch an intimate partner violence and gender-based violence treatment and prevention program. This program will support 140 women living in the garbage dump community who have experienced violence within their own interpersonal relationships or have expressed that fear out of future engaging in or being involved in violent relationships. And this project includes both therapeutic and psychoeducational elements that together will provide women with the basic knowledge and characteristics of IPV. It will help them identify resources within their community and services to support in these instances. And it will help them identify violence in their own lives and develop safety plans. So the project incorporates 5 main elements. The first element is individual psychotherapy, through which our licensed team of mental health professionals will provide individual sessions to survivors who have expressed a desire for support and who are carrying unresolved trauma as a result of their experience of intimate partner violence or gender-based violence in the past. And the second element of the project will include psychoeducational groups, which are designed to educate participants on the various types of violence and the different services and resources that are available to them in the community.
So the third element of this project includes a weekly therapeutic support group with women who have experienced any form of IPV and or GBV. These groups are specifically designed to offer a sense of safety and solidarity amongst the participants who have experienced one of the numerous forms of abuses that we've mentioned before. So another component is Creamos will provide family therapy to survivors and their families who have been impacted by IPV and GBV. So one of the primary objectives of family therapy is to increase the sense of safety, trust, and community within the family. Creamos's mental health team will support families as they process traumatic experiences individually or collectively. And family therapy also will explore interactional family dynamics while mobilizing each family's internal strengths and resources. The final element of this project includes a financial literacy component that has been designed to specifically support women who have experienced economic abuse. This program focuses on 4 main areas: savings, budgeting, debt management, and bank services. Upon completion of this program, all graduates will be accompanied by a Creamos team member to open up a bank account, and then will be eligible for a match savings program, which will hopefully incentivize people so they can form healthy savings habits. We want to thank you so much for taking the time to listen, and that's our presentation.
Thank you. So, as I was listening to your presentation, I was looking at the quality of the housing that the families are living in. But I also loved one of the women's t-shirts. It said, brunch, wine, nap, dine. It's like, okay, we're all in the same boat here. We know how to do this. So, so we see these different kinds of projects that emerge in cities, right? Where people are coming from the rural areas where they have very limited options for education, health, and even opportunities for their children. So they come into the cities, but it's also a huge amount of hardship, but a huge amount of opportunity, right? Their housing is kind of substandard, but they make do, but they're also so entrepreneurial. So give us a sense for what brings them all here and, some of that entrepreneurial spirit and everything that they bring here to this community.
Absolutely. I think there are several reasons why people make their way from rural communities into the city. Obviously, the garbage dump is a huge source of income for so many folks. I think if we look historically, the 36-year genocide that we discussed really happened in the rural highland areas of Guatemala, and really kind of started that migration towards the city. I think it's also important to understand that the country of Guatemala has a 70% rate of informal employment. So much of the country is engaged in informal work, and for folks who are coming into the city and are looking for a way to generate, an income, I think that the working within the garbage dump community is really is an option, is one of the only options here. And I think it's a really kind of interesting dynamic because, of course, there's this nuance between how important this work is. These are essential workers, which has only been exacerbated, or that we've only seen more and more throughout the pandemic. So this is extremely important, dignified work, and these people are not recognized necessarily as for their value and the contribution that they provide to the city. So I think it's balancing kind of these different ideas about the work that's
absolutely, and how quickly they learn how to recycle electronics and to make them work. And you never really throw electronics away in most other countries. You make it work and stretch it, right? And that is talent. So we were talking earlier about the family context, Hannah, and you were sharing with us a beautiful story. So go ahead and tell us what the family dynamics are typically.
Yeah, so for the families that we work with, I think we started in 2008 working with women, and we've seen incredible progress really at a micro level within their families. We've seen women, one of the biggest, I think, advances that women have made is opening up their own bank account. And something that is such a norm in other places is a really big deal. A lot of times women in the community are intimidated by big formal banks. And they're difficult to navigate. So I think opening up a bank account has given women control of their finances. If they are in an economically abusive relationship, they are able to keep that information private. But we've also seen incredible progress in the sense of self-worth that a lot of Creamos participants have. Their ability to assert what they want, their needs, their confidence in their own ability to nurture children. I think that we hope to continue seeing this progression. I think we're really excited to see the difference in how children are raised in families that have mother figures that are really taking and investing in themselves.
Tell us the story about that lady who's doing the psychology degree.
Yeah, so we have one woman, she's an incredible woman. She actually entered our program. So one of the things that we do is we offer daily exercise class, which is a really non-threatening way to get more participants. So she started coming to Zumba. She came to Zumba every single day. She then participated in financial literacy. She is now earning a full salary in our sewing program. She's actually, 2 weeks ago, she just got promoted to a sewing leader. And she actually received a university scholarship, and she is in her second year of university. She is a single mom who is raising an incredible 6-year-old girl with so much love and intention behind her parenting. So she's an incredible success story.
Absolutely. But with so many of these people in the community doing such essential work of recycling the recyclables, right? Especially nowadays, as we talk so much about climate change and environmental impacts, is it too much for us to expect all of them colluding together and starting a recycling company? Make the informal work formal? Really, because they're doing a service, but there's nobody helping to elevate that now to something else. So in addition to some of this financial literacy, the businesses and all of that, you also do a lot of legal services, right? So tell us more about that.
So currently we don't have a formal legal program. Right now we have connection to legal services in the community, and we do it on a very short-term orientation just to ensure that women are aware of their rights and aware of the accessible services around them. In the future, this is absolutely a place where we want to grow, especially in our emotional support program. A few weeks ago, we were actually chatting with another Together Women Rise partner from the Women's Justice Initiative, Kate, who's doing incredible work. And it was absolutely inspiring for us to just continue to learn about the legal work that's being done in Guatemala and know that this is absolutely a place that we want to take our services, because a lot of our women get stuck at that point.
I guess it's important for all of us to understand how important the legal work is, that the laws are passed and then they're enforced and people understand what these laws were about, right? Because it gives us something to hang on to while you create the cultural shifts in their behaviors. This is a time of the pandemic. Everybody is deeply concerned. So give us an update on what's going on in your communities.
Yeah, I guess we're just over a year now. And the Guatemalan government actually did a relatively good job at the beginning of the pandemic. We went immediately into kind of a lockdown. We went onto a curfew from 4 p.m. to 4 a.m. every day, which was certainly a different experience for us. And we went into kind of a mandatory mask mandate, which still persists to this day. We no longer have a curfew, but honestly, I think that we're at a point in the pandemic where in Guatemala, where our hospitals are at full capacity. It's a very challenging situation. The infrastructure was not set up to deal with this pandemic. But I think also there's this sense of wanting to or needing to return to normalcy, needing to generate an income. It's really difficult to think about social distancing or wearing masks when you don't have enough money to provide for your family. So I think there's that pull happening between, this respect for the magnitude of this global pandemic and also this need on a micro level to really start, generating an income for ourselves and for our families. So
absolutely. Yeah.
Just to add something quickly, I think something we were just talking about that Lucy mentioned is that social distancing is an absolute privilege that a lot of people in the community where we work don't have. We also saw other challenges that the community experienced, such as lack of water, which how are you supposed to wash your hands and keep a clean environment without water? So I think a lot of the challenges that already existed in the community were brought to light, and it made the pandemic even more challenging for the community which we work. But again, there's a lot of other risk factors that affect our community. So
absolutely. So Hannah and Lucy, thank you so much for joining us. We are thinking of you as you're working in these communities with the women. They really seem to be thriving under your care and seem to be flourishing. And we wish you good luck with the project, and we look forward to hearing about it in your reports. So thank you for joining us.
Thank you.